Hey guys, this is Chris with Dragon's Den. We wanted to continue our talks. Or the last one that we had was last video. One of the last videos we had talked about the radio strap and how to use it. If you decided to use that radio strap, what that's going to do, it's going to end up freeing up your radio pouch. So that means that you can put something into that pouch. Everything that I'm fixing to tell you, for the most part, comes from Rob Ramirez's class and his Mayday Mindset class. There's a ton of good information in there. I can't recap everything that he talks about and all the statistics and the line of duty deaths involving entanglement. So once again, if you get a chance, check it out. But one of the important things that he said in that class to me was the importance of cutters. So now that that pocket is freed up, what I chose to do is to put cutters, according to Rob Ramirez, inside of that radio pouch. So what we have here in this particular setup is we have all-purpose cutters that are going to have a cord tied to them with a hole drilled through a golf ball. And that is for identification purposes. We've had multiple instances. I've heard multiple instances of guys trying to grab their pockets. They can't fill this flap with their gloved hand. And so they end up missing, say, grabbing on the side of their thigh, trying to get maybe webbing or something along those lines, whatever they had in their pocket, and they miss it. By adding the golf ball, you know that when you hit this, that you absolutely have your cutters. And it is part of what Rob calls the action zone, from about the nose to that chest piece, where it's the important things that would be here for life safety. But once you grab it, when you start to pull up on it, they're going to automatically deploy open. So you want all-purpose cutters. So it could be something like 10 snips. There are several online. There's no brand we're endorsing. These are Milwaukee. And you want to make sure that you either tape or remove the locking mechanism so that when they deploy automatically open. And you also want to make sure that they are self-closing so that you have one-handed operation. We got to put a little WD-40 on this thing, so that you have identification. They pull. When you pull it, it comes out in open position. Once again, one-handed operation, multi-purpose cutters so that you don't have trouble cutting through things like fabric or any of these other things. Now, that all comes from Rob Ramirez. However, Chief Dave Pruitt, talked about how do you get these things how do you store these cutters? This is a standard 1 3/4 hose, just some old extra hose, nothing inside of it. And what we did is we taped over the bottom, and then through the little drain hole in the pocket, you can run some 550 cord or any kind of cordage. It doesn't make a difference. You tie a little knot. And what that's going to do is keep your pocket from having a hole punched in it like this did, because I didn't always have the hose there. And it's also going to keep these cutters in a nice closed position for storage. If you don't, they stay big and open on this radio pouch, and it becomes a little more awkward to pull them out. So it's going to keep it nice and snug, and then you make your pull, and they deploy ready to go. That is what we believe. That's what I believe you should be putting. They're about $20. You don't want to find yourself in a rough spot where you have to make a difficult cut, and your cutters are cable cutters. They're not self-opening, and they're down in your thigh pocket where you might have trouble getting to them. You look up the Lullwater fire with Firefighter glass. He talks about during his collapse, he was only able to move one of his feet, and that was it. Everything else was pinned down. So if you get into a restricted area, you want to have those things close to you in your action zone, be able to deploy them with one hand, and then use them to actually cut. And I got to do a quick shout out to Zach Fall, because when I came back from lift after talking to Rob Ramirez, I talked about how important I thought cutters were, and we needed to get them. And I drug my feet, and Zach Fall, one of the cadre members, said, "Hey, let's get your butt in gear and let's get moving." And he was a big push on this project of getting these cutters into our gear. So that's just a little quick tip, give you something to think about. Definitely go look at Rob Ramirez and some of the stuff that he's talking about. This video has been done 1,000 times by 1,000 different people, but this is our version. We hope it's helpful to you. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Stick around for the next episode of Dragon's Den Training. Thank y'all.